In diplomacy, it's widely believed that if you are not at the table, then you're probably on the menu. This seems to be the fate for China at this year's G20 Summit. 5 days before D-Day, Xi Jinping announced that he will be skipping the meeting. Premier Li Qiang will be taking his place. But for a country like China, this kind of move is one thing. There's more than what meets the eye. Xi's absence is going to be the most telling at the summit, much more than Russia's Vladimir Putin. This will become the second time that the Chinese president is going to miss the G20 summit. Last time it was the COVID-19 pandemic cited as a reason, but this time the foreign minister has not given any reason for the same. So what's keeping Xi so busy? Well, he's visiting areas worst affected by floods. Parts of China face record rainfall, flooding cities and farmlands. But this happened in July and August, and Xi Jinping did not make any visits until this week. There's also a bit of diplomacy on Xi's schedule. For one, Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro is in China for a 7-day trip, and after this, Xi will be hosting the Zambian president from September 10th to 16th. Is this Xi Jinping sending out a message about his priorities? Well, a Nikkei Asia report suggests there's more to it. A precursor seems to have been this summer's Badaya meeting. This happens to be an annual get-together of incumbent and retired leaders of the Chinese Communist Party, and reportedly in the meeting, party elders reprimanded the top leader in ways they had not up until now. You see, from politics to the economy, Xi was pulled up for everything. China today is not the best shape. Its economy is receding. The real estate sector is in a shambles. Youth unemployment rate deteriorated to such an extent that Beijing stopped releasing figures altogether. And the geopolitical climate is not particularly in China's favor. So even though many are seeing Xi's no-show as a snub to India's G20 presidency, the decision is more to do with Beijing than New Delhi. Foreign affairs experts say that the move has dented Xi's own image as a statesman and denied him an opportunity to be at an important multilateral platform. G20 is considered to be the world's biggest economic forum. It makes up 60% of the world's population, 80% of the global GDP, and 75% of global trade. So the absence of the leader of the world's second largest economy speaks volumes. To discuss more, joining me now is Adrian Gyges, the writer and author of the biography Xi Jinping, the Most Powerful Man in the World. Adrian, welcome to WION.
Thank you for having me.
Right, let's jump right in. Let's talk about Xi Jinping skipping the meeting. What do you make of it?
Okay, I think there are two aspects. The one you already mentioned, the internal problems in China, very big economic problems. And it seems that a lot of elder leaders are criticizing him now behind doors, of course. But I think there is another point, and this is very disturbing, I would say. I mean, in spite of these problems, Xi Jinping took part, for example, at the BRICS meeting. So what we can see is he wants to take part at meetings mainly if he is the leader, if he is the main strongest economic country in the meeting. And in a meeting like G20, which is very important, as you mentioned, where all the big countries come together, he is not the leader. And that seems to be the reason why he does not take part this time. And this is very disturbing because this shows very much the Chinese nationalism.
Right. What you're saying is that Xi Jinping only wants to attend meetings or in circles where he's the most powerful or influential.
Right.
Right. So tell me more about Xi Jinping's priorities at the moment. He's missing the G20 Economic Forum where some of the biggest global leaders are sitting down. Is he worried that China is getting isolated more and more?
It seems to be he is not worried. He even does not care too much about the situation because the G20 in India would be a big opportunity for him. I mean, this is hosted by India, which is an emerging country itself. So this is really the possibility to bring together the global south and the big Western industrial countries. So this would be a big chance for Xi Jinping. But he is, let me say it frankly, arrogant enough to think this is not important enough for him. So I think this is really a problem that he is not taking part.
Right, that's very interesting what you've said, that Xi Jinping thinks the G20 isn't important enough. Is he at all worried about the meetings happening? We know that China's actions in the Indo-Pacific are guaranteed to come up when global leaders sit down at the high table.
Exactly, that will come up. And of course, also the Russian war in the Ukraine will come up. And you remember at the last meeting in Bali, there was a joint declaration which said, okay, the most countries are not happy about this war and only some countries have a minority opinion. And it seems that he, same like Vladimir Putin, does not want to sign such kind of joint declaration again. So I think it will be very interesting to see. And I think Prime Minister Modi will have to have a very clever leadership in will there be a joint declaration this time or not.
Adrian, thank you so much for your frank opinion. Thanks for joining us on WION World is One.
Thank you for having me.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.